Good morning, Facebook and Instagram. I just wanted to jump in here. Mel Abraham here. I got a question yesterday. Some people are sending me questions, so I just wanted to answer this question. One of the questions really that came in was, so during these times that are uncertain, during these times when, job might be in jeopardy, you're not sure, maybe you already are laid off or something like that. Is it possible to negotiate with your credit card companies? And here's my philosophy about life. Everything is negotiable. Everything is negotiable. It's just a matter of how you go about it. And the first things first, those of you that know me and my friends know me, they know that I negotiate everything and I do it in a fun, playful manner. Because negotiations aren't meant to be hard. They're meant to be useful. They're meant to be meaningful. And some things that happen with negotiations. We'll talk generally about negotiations here, and then we'll talk specifically about credit cards and what I think you can do. Because bottom line, the short answer to the question is, can you negotiate with your credit companies? And the answer is yes. So if you feel like you've got a balance on a credit card that might be choking you, Sarah, let me know if this gets a little louder. I'm gonna speak up. I don't know if I can fix that. No, that doesn't fix that. But here, let me do this. I wonder if I can switch I may not be able to switch my mic in the middle. So I'm gonna keep going, and then we'll take it from there. I'm gonna speak a lot louder. So here's the thing. Yes, you can negotiate with credit card companies, and so if you are sitting on credit card debt, whether you feel like your job is in jeopardy or your cash flow, this just may be a perfect opportunity to have that conversation. Because if you have the ability to reduce your rate, your APR, your interest rate that you're paying on your credit cards, to adjust the credit cards in any way, shape, or form, this gives you a much greater leverage because of what's going on in the world today. So first things first, let's just talk in general about negotiation. And this is negotiation across the board, any kind of negotiation. The mistake that most people make, and in fact, I'm going to be doing a program on negotiation because my buddy James Wedmore says, you gotta tell people how you negotiate because of what I do. So there'll be something that comes out at some point in the future. But the biggest mistake that I think most people do is they approach a negotiation with the attitude of what can I get from you? How am I going to get this from you? How do I get you to release your grip on this? And that's the mistake, because now what's happening is now we are at odds with each other, and we're across the table from each other. And that's not the way we want a negotiation to run. And I have negotiated everything from a credit card to a cable bill that I missed a payment on to large transactions. I mean, millions and millions and millions of dollars. And so the key is this. You got to ask yourself going in, what do they want? What do they need? And then understand how you can position it that this is the way they get it. What that means is that instead of sitting across the table from them, negotiating with them, negotiating against them, which is what a lot of people look at, I'm negotiating against them, you're negotiating with them, you're having a conversation with them, then what you do is you come around the side and you're sitting side by side looking at the numbers and saying, how do we make this work? And I'll give you a story, and then I'll give you some specifics. I was helping an attorney actually negotiate a buyout from his partners, and he had this whole list of demands, okay? And he had this whole list, and I'm not going to badmouth attorneys. I got a whole lot of attorney jokes we can go into, but he had this whole list of demands, and he says, I want to get this. I want to get this. And I looked at him, and I said, listen, Dean, if we go in with just a list of demands, what do you think the response is going to be? When I tell someone they've got to do something, here's my demands, the response is they're going to dig their heels in and give you the reasons why they can't. So instead of asking why questions, instead of saying, here's what I want and want demands, what we need to do is reframe all our negotiation in how questions. How can we make this work? how can we make this work? How can we make it so you get what you want and I get what I need? How can I make this a win for you? When you start asking how questions, what that does in a negotiation is you're no longer across the table from each other. You are sitting side by side, presupposing there's a solution that you're going to co-create together. It's the biggest mistake that most people make when they start a negotiation is they put themselves across the table and say, that's my adversary. No, they're your partner in the negotiation. We want to get side by side with them and start having a conversation to see, how do we make this work? So it's the same thing with a credit card company, whether it's a car dealership. I just recently helped a good friend negotiate buying a car for his wife. And he literally called me up, left me a voice text saying, that was the easiest and most fun negotiation I have ever done, especially for a car. You get this right, and what ends up happening is they feel like they won, and you get what you need in the process, and that's the important thing. So let's go back to the whole idea of credit cards. You may have credit card balances, and now is a perfect time to relook at your credit card balances and the interest rates they're charging you. I don't carry balances on my credit cards, but some people do. And if you're carrying a balance on a credit card, the first thing that I want you to do is pull all your credit card statements out. I know this could be a painful process because now you're going to look at it. But I want you to look for the APR. I want you to look for what is the interest rate that they're charging you on the credit card. I want you to then go to a site like bankrate.com and look at all the rates that are out there and compare the rate that you're being charged at the rate you could. And then once you compare the rate and you look at it, that gives you some evidence. One of the things that we did with this car negotiation is that I told him to go get a bid for another car that he wanted to negotiate. As soon as the people that you're negotiating with know that you have options and alternatives, you've got leverage on your side. So one of the things that we want to look at is what are the options and alternatives that you have from a credit card perspective, because they truly don't want to lose you as a customer. Even if you did a balance transfer, they don't get the interest for the time that you're paying the card off. So they're trying to preserve you as a customer. That's one thing. So we want to compare your APR to what's out there in the marketplace. If you've been a long-term customer, we use loyalty on your side also. We make sure that they understand, I've been a loyal customer for 10 years, for 5 years. I paid on time, and this is just a difficult time. So here's some specific things. Now that you know what you owe, now that you know what the rates are compared to the marketplace, now you can start having a conversation. First things first, be real with them. Be honest with them. I made a mistake on a situation where I put my payment into my computer system, but I didn't go to home banking to make to set it up to get paid. So it didn't get paid on time, and there was a late fee. And I called them up, and I kind of just laid it out and said, I screwed up. This is totally my fault. And you're totally within your right to charge me the late fee. But can we have a conversation and can we talk through this? And we ended up getting the late fee abated. So yes, definitely take notes, because this is something that's going to be a checklist for you, whether it's today, tomorrow, or down the road, for you to negotiate anything. So we want to know what we're up against. We want to work from a place of how co-creating the result with the person. They are not an adversary. They're a partner in coming up with a solution in the process. The next thing that I want you to do is to be really clear on your story. Short. They don't need the whole backstory, but short story that here's where I'm at, here's why I'm here, this is why it's unusual, and I'm asking for help, and I want to see what so I'm creating a connection with them. Languaging is going to be really important here. What we can do together to make this work. I know that in your system, you want to make sure that you get paid, and I want to make sure you get paid because I want to make sure that you're taken care of, and I just need to figure out how we can do this in a way that doesn't put me in jeopardy and my family in jeopardy, and I know that we can work together to make that happen. So we presuppose the outcome in the process. Two, this is a big two. Stay calm, okay? There's always time for threats. There's always time for anger. There's always time, but there is never a time where you can walk back from it. So stay calm. In any negotiation, stay calm. Stephanie was with me when we were negotiating for her car, and she said, I absolutely would hate to be in a negotiation with you because you don't give up anything. I don't play poker, but I guess I have a poker face. So many times other people will use what I call negotiating tactics that are manipulative tactics. They're what they call gambits to try and posture and position. Well, I know the gambits, and so I'll allow it to play out a little bit, and then we'll move around it, and then I'll call it out. And it's an uncomfortable thing when all of a sudden they get called out and they go, oh crap, he knows what I'm doing. But stay calm. Have a conversation. So here's some couple things. Next thing is that, so we're gonna know our story. We're gonna stay calm. So we're not gonna bring drama into it. Then you're gonna ask questions. You're gonna ask the questions about what they need, where they're at, what they can do. And when you talk about credit cards, you can negotiate the rate. You can negotiate the payments. You can negotiate the balance. You can go back, and I've negotiated a reversal of late charges going back a couple months. So there's pretty much everything in the system is on the table. They may tell you, okay, they may tell you, I don't have the authority to do that. I don't have the ability to have this conversation with you. And you say, I totally get that. All right. So first I'm going to acknowledge them. I totally get that. Can you do me a favor? Is it possible for you to transfer me to someone that can? And so I will ask to move up the ladder, and I will continually ask to move up the ladder until I get to the person that has the authority to make the decisions and make the changes that need to be made. In doing that, I will be persistent and say, all right. They say, well, one of the things that they do, let's say, well, they're not available right now, or they're on the other line. And I go, well, that's okay. I'll just hold. And they go, oh crap. They thought I was going to get off the line, but I do it kind of in a fun way. I say, it's okay. I'll just hold. I'm fine. I got time. And they go, oh no. So it's their way to get off the line. I just tell them I'll hold. And if I'm not going to hold, I say, do me a favor. Is it possible for me to get a number so I can call them directly? They likely will not do that. Then you say, all right, who is it that's going to call me, and when can I expect the call back? So you get it really clear what the expectations are. But if you have to move it up the ladder, you move it up the ladder. And you keep moving it until you have a conversation with someone that has the authority to make the changes that you need made, until you exhausted the possibilities. So third, the next thing is this. Always, now I have my iPad all the time. Everyone that knows me, I'm always carrying the iPad. And someone, I just did an interview, and they did some fast, fire fast questions. And they said, if you had to be, lo and behold, if you had to be locked up, what's the one thing that you'd want to have with you all the time? And I said, well, I'm going to take two, because I want my wife with me first and my iPad. So my iPad's with me. Always take notes. Time of day, date, who you're speaking to, what was said, what was done, and everything. And you're going to keep a log of those notes because at some point you might need them. So we're going to keep diligent notes in the process. If I have an email, what I typically will do after the conversation, if I have an email, I send them an email summarizing our conversation, which is verifying, saying, hey, I just wanted to summarize what we agreed on and what we talked about. Here's the points. If you see anything that I'm misstating, please let me know, because if they don't let me know, now they've acknowledged the position that we're in. So we're going to take notes. If you have bills that are overdue, don't ignore them. Get on the phone and have a conversation. They're not going to go away. They're going to get worse. What I want to do is have these negotiations with the credit card company and not the collectors. Having a conversation with the collector is a very different game, and they play a different game, and we can talk about that at another time. So deal with the creditors. Then the next thing is to make sure that any agreement you get, you want to get it in writing. Any agreement you get, you want to get it in writing. And now that we've got that in place, the question you got to ask yourself is, what do you want? What is it you want? When you're getting on this call, you have an understanding of what they want. What do you want? Do you want a reduction in the rate? Do you need a reduction in the payment? Do you need a deferral in the payment? Do you need a reversal of the late fees? What specifically do you want, instead of just putting it out there? Here's what I would like us to try and figure out how to do. Boom, 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 boom. So hopefully this helps you. If this is of value to you, let me know. Because many of us have credit cards and many of us want to get them paid down, and many of us want to negotiate. This is a perfect time to negotiate with a credit card company. And then the last thing that I want you to think about is this. Never, ever, 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 did I say never, ever, ever give them access to your bank account. So here's what I mean by this. Well, we'll do this, but we want to get an automatic transfer. We want to get an ACH or an automatic deposit from your account, that type of thing. Never, ever let them do that. I refuse. In fact, I have an investment that they wanted to do an automatic deposit, and I refuse to allow anyone access to my bank accounts, because I never know what they're going to do, legally or illegally, especially if it's in collections. You'll never allow them access to your bank account. Never, ever. So let's summarize. First things first, okay? Get really clear on what you owe, what the APR is, who the creditor is, and get real clear on that. Put it all in front of you, all right? Second, survey the market. Go to bankrate.com, see what is possible for you to get out in the marketplace, so you know what the comparison is, the difference is, and so you have alternatives to have a conversation with them. Third, we're going to have how conversations with them. We're not going to have why conversations. We're not going to make demands. We're going to have how conversations that puts you and them on the same side of the table to negotiate co-create and co-negotiate a solution that serves them and serves you. 3, you're going to take notes and diligent notes about who you're talking to, what you're talking about, and what the agreements are. 4, you're going to stay calm. You're not going to get angry. You're not going to get demanding. You're not going to get crappy. You're not going to do that, because it's not going to serve you. Those notes will go in their file, and the next person you talk to is going to go, oh, and they start on the defensive. There's always time to do that. Are you going to stay calm? 4th, know what you want in the negotiation. What would be a win for you, and let's put it out on the table. Be clear on your story, and then make sure they don't get access to your bank account. All right. So if I were you, if you have a balance on a credit card and the rate seems to be high, get on the phone. Let's get those rates down. Let's get you some cash back into your pocket and not going out to the credit card companies right now. And let's get yourself some breathing room in a time where you need the breathing room. All right, let's start with the credit card companies before it gets out of hand. Let's have those conversations now. They're probably getting many of them, but they won't get them doing it the way I'm telling you to do it. Do it the right way. Do it the good way. You'll get good results. I promise. I've done it for years for clients. I've done it for years. I've not really had to negotiate with credit card companies, but in my negotiations, I've been rather successful in my tactics and negotiations. So I want you to do the same thing. So I hope this helps. If you know someone that is dealing with these kinds of things, share this with them. Give them the tools. Give them the tools to navigate this time and to make a difference in their life. Right now, more than anything, what we need to do is figure out, how do we get a little breathing room that allows me to get some cash in, that allows me to have a little more security, a little more certainty in my life financially. And one of the first places to look is if I've got balances on credit cards, let's see if I can cut those payments. If I can cut an interest rate down from 20% to 15%, boom. So and the other, let me just throw something else out there, because it just kind of came across. Is it a time to cancel cards or consolidate? It may be a time to consolidate or cancel if you can negotiate the rates properly, but when you cancel cards, it affects your credit score. What I'd rather we do is try to make sure that we get things paid off and show a card paid off, which affects the credit score in a positive way. So before I consolidate, let's go through a negotiation first, and we can look at consolidation as a thing later on. So cool. I hope that helps. I got another training that I got to get on in just a few minutes. I wanted to jump on here really quickly and give you some tips. You got some time today. If you guys are quarantined at home like we are, you got some time. Get on the phone. Get on the phone with the. I was looking for my phone, but I'm speaking to it. So get on the phone with the credit card companies. Let's get you some breathing room. Let's get you some space. You guys have an incredible, incredible day. There's a bright future ahead of us. We just got to grab a hold of it and make it ours. All right. Whatever I can do to serve you, support you in this journey, hit me up, let me know, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.